be a stylish marriage. I passed the for the marriage. But you sweet pasta, sita na boy, who built for
Hello everyone, Christopher Beast here, and we've got yet another theory. This one is for Halloween. I hope you all had a happy Halloween, as this video is probably going to come out November 1st, which is a little late. So, this theory in particular is going to look at the murder shack on Grontheim. If you don't know where that is, it's located in the upper left-hand corner of the map, nearby a small river. This location is particularly curious because it has a bear with a knife in it, a lot of blood, a small poster, and is located outside of the map as you can observe it on the map. All of these factors have led a lot of theories to be surrounding this location. So, I'm going to propose two theories. Let's do this. First theory. Here's the setting. The Cold War isn't cooling down, it's heating up. And the native Norwegian people begin to realize this. Realize that war is inevitable. That no matter how they act or what they do, eventually the war will find its way to its doorsteps. This causes one man in particular to realize that he now has the ability to do exactly what he wants. Without people on guard and worrying about what he is doing, instead focused on the incoming doom, he's able to slip away into the darkness and claim the lives of people unaware of his existence. Quietly, he bides his time in his shack, disassembling, cutting up the bodies, and burying them around his shack. He eventually has to move out of his shack into a small tent due to the sheer amount of blood that's everywhere in his shack. As he continues, one body, 2, 3, 4, and eventually 6, he slowly begins to realize how easy it all is. How easy it is to do exactly what he wants. And just as he's coming to this realization that the world truly can't defend against him, the nuclear apocalypse occurs. The murderer, realizing that his choices are now be murdered by the radiation approaching or try to somehow survive in this apocalypse, chooses that he would rather not survive in this world, deciding that he will be his 7th victim. He will be his final act of defiance against the society that held him back. Upon his death, his vengeful soul, hungry for more victims, slumbered into the body of the bear. So, now we have a second theory. What else could have happened? A young newspaper writer, the head writer of the Grontheim Times, sits at his desk writing yet another newspaper, realizing that the ignorance of society is what caused the nuclear war, and he is determined to not allow people to go blind in this new post-apocalyptic world. The Grontheim Times would continue for some time after the nuclear war. But, even in this post-apocalyptic wasteland, enemies were still everywhere. Russian troops who had survived the initial nuclear attack were determined to silence any ideas that were spreading around against them. The newspaper writer knew this, and he was forced to go up into hiding. He hid in a small little shack located in the small corridors next to a large mountain. The running stream nearby would hide his typewriter clicks and any actions he did. He would not have to fear. The newspaper boy lay oblivious, writing more and more stories, trying to keep the last fringes of society aware. But even the newspaper boy couldn't survive everything. Eventually, the Russians found him. The Russians set up a small little tent outside his house, as they knew they would stay here as a temporary residence due to the strong walls of the shack, murdered the boy, and took refuge here. However, the boy was not going to go down without a fight. His vengeful spirit of all he wanted was to inform now possessed the Russian troops, causing them to kill each other and eventually themselves, laying behind a trail of blood. The newspaper boy's final message, his quest to find the missing people, those who went missing before the war started, still lies on the walls of the building. He lies vigilant within the bear, beckoning any and all who are worthy and willing to investigate the questions of society to try to find these missing people. To find
So what do you think happened?
Story. Do you think it was a young newspaper boy? Or do you believe it was a mass murderer? Or do you believe it was somewhere in the middle? Maybe the newspaper boy really did go up here, thus explaining all the newspapers on the floor, but then was stopped by the murderer. Maybe the Russians did occur there, thus the tent, but the murderer himself was eventually found by these Russians. While these are questions we don't have the answers to yet, I'm sure one day we will find these answers. And when we do find the answers to what actually happened here, I will make a video on it. I hope you did enjoy these theories, and again, I hope you had a happy Halloween. I know I did. I relaxed with my dog a bit. She's actually sitting pretty close to me as I record this right now. She's looking at me kind of weird. But this has been Christopher Beast. Hope you enjoyed the video. And remember, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
I'm okay. She told us and before I never loved you mine. She told us and before I never loved you mine.